On this episode of Trying Not to Sink, we blow out the turbo on our Hatteras Yacht, run into a bit of trouble removing the old one, then install a replacement we tracked down in Miami. My name is Ed. I'm an ex-musician, turned politician, turned accountant, who now imagines himself as sea captain. This is Lynn. She's an ex-model, retired photographer, and the love of my life. 3 years ago we bought a boat. No experience and completely clueless. Since then we have traveled over 10,000 miles along the Atlantic coast and the Bahamas. Join us as we continue the adventure, exploring exciting places, meeting new people, and having the time of our lives while trying not to sink.
So every time after we're done taking a trip, I go into the engine rooms, I check the bilge, make sure that they're okay, and then I wipe down the engines looking for any marks. But what I did notice is there's all this soot all over everything. It's everywhere. So I don't know what that's about, and it's all over the room, it's all over the engine, it's everywhere. Well, I better get Ed and try to figure out where this is coming from. You know, it's pretty intense. Let me go get the captain.
So after our trip to Annapolis, Lynn noticed that there was a lot of soot in this engine room. This is our starboard. And, well, we tracked it down to coming from the turbo on this side of the engine. Took the heat blanket off and looked in, and unfortunately, it's not pretty. There is the turbo here that connects to the exhaust, and right here there's a flange that connects the two pieces, and this is what's left of it. I just pulled it off. It is all rotted away, rusty, and this is not salvageable here. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, whether I'm going to have to get a new turbo or if there's a way for me to have something welded that would work. Not sure. Going to take the whole thing off and I put it out in front of me and take a look and, you know, kind of go from there. But it looks like we're not going anywhere anytime soon, and we're hoping to leave in 2 weeks for another trip. So let's see if I can get it done in that time period. If not, I guess we're not going. So
you're gonna have to get this off.
Yeah.
This ring snaps off.
Okay.
But what I would do before taking that ring is break these lines here and this one.
Our friend Tim is a boat mechanic, and he stopped by to give me some pointers on removing the turbo. Yeah, because let's see, because this ring holds what? This here.
Yeah, it's like the flange, same thing as that one.
Okay, so then the two oil lines have to come off.
Right.
This comes off, and then however this is connected down here.
You got to take the wire off.
Yeah.
And then let's.
Now, what about repairing this?
It's not repairable.
It's not. Nothing can be welded to that or anything. No.
Yeah. I've never seen them welded before. I mean, there's more weight on this side than that side. Because it's a dry turbo, this is actually heavier than one that has a wet turbo. So it's usually the heavier side one, which is usually the inner one, that breaks first.
Okay, well, I'm back here at the boat, and I'm going to make another attempt to get the bolts off the exhaust manifold that connected to the turbo. And this time I came back with some propane. I'm going to heat it up, and I brought a breaker bar. So, well, we'll see how it goes.
I kind of figured they're going to have to be cut out, you know? I mean, not that I'm a mechanic or anything.
I don't know if it's spinning the whole thing or just...
It is. Good.
The whole...
Get on there with the wrench.
Is it the whole thing or part of it?
Alright, Ed, stay there. Turn it a little more. Alright, go. It's stripping. I know. I know. Keep going. Where's the hammer?
What's that look like?
All right, go. I'm on there all the way.
It's not spinning.
Go now. It's spinning now. I got a cut off in my truck.
Mark said he's going to come down with a whole bunch of cutoff tools.
So we could always wait for them because you know why? Guess what time it is? 1 o'clock.
The exhaust bolts and nuts fused together. Fortunately, our friend Mark came by with his cutoff tools to lend a hand.
We don't need those things.
Oh, God. You like to burn?
We just gotta get it done. I need the feel.
How many is there?
4 people. There's one more to go. This is our. Here's the issue. This flange is rotted away. I had time to kill waiting for a replacement turbo to arrive, so I did a little touch-up paint on a fiberglass repair I did a few weeks ago. The color match is not perfect, so I will try again on the next coat. Okay, well, as you can see, I have a brand new turbo and a $2,000 paperweight here. We got this, we got it very quickly. I got it from guys called Diesel Pros down in Miami. Called them up, gave them the serial number from my engine, and they looked it up. They had the part, they got it shipped out that day. I actually had it 2 days later on a Sunday morning, showed up at my house from Miami, so I was pretty thrilled with that. So a big shout out to you guys down in Diesel Pros. I recommend them. They came through for me real quick, and it looks to be nearly an exact match. If you want to come around, I can show you why we had to replace it. See on the turbo on the right, this edge here is completely crumbled and fell off. This is what it should look like. There's a band that goes around here that clamps it to the exhaust pipe, and the exhaust pipe goes out the back of the boat. So that's why we got soot all over our engine room. This broke off. The exhaust was able to escape. Some of it going down, some of it just going into the room. There was no easy fix. So basically, even though the turbo works perfectly fine, we had to get a new one. Now, as you see right now, they're not exactly lined up. I put them side by side so I can make sure I have the turbo, the exhaust end, and the engine intake end lined up right, so that this should be up about here, and then this must go down, must spin. So I got to spin this part here clockwise just a few degrees to get it lined up. So I'm going to work on that now. There is a band here that loosens, and I should be able to turn this. Now, the only other part that is slightly different is this oil intake right here is completely parallel with the exhaust mount on this one. But if you look over here on the original one,
Whoops. Yeah.
if you look over here on the original one, you can see that this is not exactly parallel. It's a little bit of an angle from here. I don't think that's going to be an issue because I think I have a little bit of play in the oil line. So I'm not worried about that. I'm going to get this turned and we'll see how it all comes out.
Is this going to stay on our counter as a decoration?
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time throwing away a $2,000 paperweight, but
So it's going to be like an art piece, like our art piece.
yeah, we'll put flowers in it, and we'll put it on the coffee table.
There we go.
So in addition to getting the turbo, of course, I got a set of gaskets. In fact, I got a spare set of gaskets just in case. And we had to replace the bolts, as you've seen earlier. We cut the old ones off, so I have some 8th grade bolts and nuts to replace as well. So now the fun part.
A screwdriver.
Whoops.
Oh!
I need this to look like. Let me get this cap off. Okay, so I need this. That looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is make sure I have the right angle on this compared to this. That looks pretty good. Now, if it's off a little, of course I can adjust it down on the engine, but I'm just trying to make my life as easy as possible when I'm down there. So I'm trying to get off any remnants of the old gasket. With some sandpaper. I wasn't sure if any specks of particles fell down into the exhaust, but I wanted to vacuum it out anyway, just in case, because whatever falls in there is going to go right into the cylinders when the turbo turns on. But looks clean now.
Sure does. Heavy?
Yep.
Plates in. That wasn't
Get
too
the
bad.
gasket in, got it in place. This I still have to line up, but that's okay. This is movable. We have to lift the exhaust up a little, but I'm going to get everything attached first. Then I'll do this.
Okay.
Perfect.
What kind of bolts are they?
They're, what would you call, grade 8s. They're meant to not corrode and to be good for heated areas, like exhaust. Just picked them up at the Auto Advance place.
Bolts. Looks good.
Loosening up this end of the turbo so I can spin it because it didn't quite line up exactly where I wanted on the old hose. So I'm just loosening this up and I should be able to turn it and it should be right in.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Like that.
Like that.
That's pretty good.
Hey Ed,
Yeah.
is that a baster in your hand, or are you just happy to see me?
If it was in my pocket, that would make more sense, probably. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to use this turkey baster, and I'm going to prime the turbo with a little bit of oil and spin it with my fingers just to get it lubricated. That way it's got a little bit of oil in it when we start the engines.
See, the oil baster is a handy dandy little thing. I mean, the turkey baster.
Yeah, we've used it a few times. So, just put a little bit of oil in. Slowly, it looks like. And if I put my finger in here, I can spin the turbo and hopefully circulate some of this oil.
Put the cover on before we fire it up.
No, I'm going to fire it up with the cover off first, see if I can see any leaks, and then if there are none, I'll let the engine cool down, and then we'll put these blankets back on. But,
Those blankets aren't in the way of anything that's gonna like. I don't know.
but I'm not ready to start it yet.
Okay.
I don't have the exhaust hooked up yet,
Oh.
and I didn't tighten these bolts and put that clamp on.
Oh. So, how much oil do you put in?
No idea. I'm just kind of letting it drip and fill up, and then I'm spinning it. It seems to be going down a little bit, and I figure if it starts coming out the other end, I probably
Full.
filled it. Yeah.
Where's the air leak?
Right here.
Is it because we don't have that thing tight enough, or
Yeah.
we have it together close enough?
I assume it pulls it in as I tighten it.
How much of an air leak do we have?
Well, you smelled it, right?
I saw a little puff of smoke, but that was about it.
It wasn't terrible, but it was like a feeling, like it smelled smoke.
Yeah, exhaust. And then it's that band, hopefully. It's kind of like the same one we have around our pool filter.
Yeah. I was just afraid to go too tight. If I break this, it's around 2 grains, you know? Everything seems to be good. We don't seem to be getting any leaks. I mean, I'm gonna be done for today, I think, because putting the blankets on is gonna be a pain in the neck, and I'm tired. So I think what I'm gonna do is tomorrow I'm gonna start her up again, let her run for a while, and see if we see any other issues. You know, maybe I'll take it up to 1700 RPMs and see if anything's coming out, and then if everything looks good, we'll put the blankets on. We'll be done. But so far, it's looking good, and we're gonna clean up in here too. What a mess!
Yes, mess.
Soot everywhere.
Yep, Roger out.